Do we have anyone here to speak on any non-agenda items?
Mr. Chairperson, I have not received any blue speaker cards.
Thank you. Seeing as nobody here is representing item number 1, could we switch item number 4 and 1? Start with number 4 and go 2, 3, then 1. Is that okay?
Well, it's with the consensus of your group, yes, you can do that.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, we will start with item 4, which was Feather River Tattoo. Staff will give a presentation. Thank you.
Okay, this item's for a new tattoo parlor in the Times Square Plaza on 1353 Feather River Boulevard. The proposed location has seen high turnover of businesses, persistent transient activity, and loitering. Tattoo parlors are classified as personal services moderate impact. The purpose of this use classification is to prevent the buildup of high concentrations of uses deemed to have a moderate impact on the properties around them. There are no existing moderate impact uses near the applicant's project location. However, noted in the staff report are the following nearby properties: a smoke shop, a liquor store, a church, several 2- to 3-star hotels, and a neighborhood of single-family residences. Notice about this project has gone out to the nearby property owners, and we received no comments. The applicants have submitted letters from the owner of the retail center and from 2 neighboring property owners, which are in support of the proposed use. The letters, which are attached at the back of your packet in blue, describe a drop in transient activity and note the work done by the applicants to keep the area free of litter. You can see photos of the cleanup and inside the building, also attached in blue. Per staff request, applicants have created a written security plan aimed at preventing loitering, drug, alcohol, tobacco use, criminal or gang activity, and underage clients. This was not required, but was completed per staff request. Required registration with the Butte County Environmental Health Department and safety and hygiene protocols compliant with the Safe Body Art Act have been submitted. Signage is not required or included with this application, but per staff request, the applicants did provide a concept for their vision of the storefront and signage, which received positive feedback during the Development Review Committee meeting. These sketches are attached in blue, but copies were faded, so I'll have the originals to circulate up front. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to say anything? You don't have to. You don't have to. You may get questions, but you don't have. All right. Thank you. Okay, we'll open for public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to comment on this?
Mr. Chairperson, I do not have any blue speaker cards.
Close public comment and limit discussion between commissioners and staff. Does anybody have any questions? Comments?
What are these pictures here of this bag of trash and garbage and crack pipe and?
Yeah, those are photos of the cleanup of the litter that was outside that's been kept clear since the applicants have had this application with us.
This is right in front of this proposed?
Right. There's been regular buildup of trash in that location, which has been notably kept clean.
Does the landlord do any of this cleaning, or just the tenants have to do it?
The landlord has been absent from some of those maintenance responsibilities, you could say, yeah.
The landlord is in Yuba City. Comes up every once in a while. Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe the landlord is from Yuba City, and he only comes up every once in a while. And it is upon us tenants to clean up the area and to direct the transients to go to other places.
Does he charge you any kind of CAM charges for this place? Any common area maintenance fees in your lease?
No, it's all just upfront in our lease. There's nothing that I mean, he has CCTV cameras on the premises, and we also have cameras, but they're more directed for inside the shop. So
then you've been cleaning this up yourself?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got gas again because I go to that corner all the time, and it's so clean. And I even got out this morning and walked around, and it's big improvement. Like, and for it to
It is.
stay consistently cleaner.
Do the other tenants help you clean up?
Yeah, the lady with the haircut place, she comes in pretty much every morning and blows off all the leaves and stuff like that. And it depends on who gets there first, who cleans up the mess, because there's pretty much always a mess there in the morning.
And how close are you to opening?
Depending on what happens tonight, we could be open in a month, probably.
Any more questions or open to a motion?
I just have a comment that this is a space that is definitely in need of occupancy and in an area where we need a lot more traffic coming through. So I'm happy to see the investment.
I can see the potential too. I mean, despite the transient activity there, I mean, it's a great location. I mean, it's right
Yes.
on, right by the freeway. I mean, it's a great location, and it could be really good if we can keep up on it.
Thank you. Open to a motion then in a second.
I make a motion that we approve the minor use permit UP 2208 to allow Feather River Tattoo Company at 1353 Feather River Boulevard.
I'll second the motion.
There was nothing else in the blue. Everything is
No,
as,
I believe I mentioned everything that's in blue that's been added, yeah, so.
Just to clarify, this also includes the recommendation for the notice of exemption and adoption of the resolution.
We're talking about Resolution P 2022-15.
And the recommendation of adoption of the notice of exemption.
Yes.
Okay.
all right, we have a motion and a second, and we'll vote.
Motion carries with 5 yeses and 1 absent.
Okay, we will move on to item 2, Jake's Burgers use permit. Staff report.
Okay, this is for on-site alcohol sales
Excited.
at the existing Jake's Burgers restaurant, 1751 Oroville Boulevard, Suite 11. This alcohol license is type 41 and includes beer and wine only. We have received confirmation notice from the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, which is attached in blue. Signage and facade improvements are not included with this application. Training and security plan for this project is attached in blue.
Would Jake's like to say anything or questioning? Okay. I'll open public comment. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on this item?
Mr. Chairperson, I do not have any blue speaker cards on this item.
Close public comment on this item. Limit discussion between commissioners and staff. Any questions or comments? No questions or comments. Open to motion.
I move to approve item 2 as stated.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. Open voting.
Motion carries with 5 yeses and 1 absent.
I haven't been there yet. I gotta go there.
We'll move on to item 3, minor use permit for small truck driving school.
Yes, Commissioners, can we put this on the applicant has selected what used to be Dave's Party Rentals at 2531 South 5th Avenue for small-scale truck school with 2 trucks and 1 instructor. And they have executed a lease for this. Basic driver training will occur on site with some classroom training, but mostly, how to start and move forward and run backwards. There will be, as I mentioned, 2 tractor rigs and 2 trailers. The trailers will remain empty, so there won't be heavy loads there. And then actual driving experience will be conducted on city streets. Applicant proposes no new building changes outside or inside, and the building in blue with the blue mark on it is a little blue building. Used to also be a U-Haul trailer rental place. It is a private school in the mixed-use, commercial mixed-use zone, corridor mixed-use zone, and therefore it needs a use permit. Parking is okay in terms of the count, including the required accessible spaces. You can see the accessible space to right here. This is a warehouse which is also part of the property, but which will not be used by the applicant. And the property goes all the way back to this fence. And as you can see, half or so of the back there is not paved. And so that has became a point of discussion at the Development Review Committee and with our city engineer. So the proposed conditions include that no more than 2 tractor-trailer combination rigs would be kept and or parked and or used on the site at any one time. There is or was a illegal campground where someone was operating back here, I think behind this fence, which they've promised to remove. I don't know if it's removed yet. It's been removed. They're gone? Yes. Okay. We've asked for a separate building permit application for any signage. There is a small monument or a small pole sign there and some signage on the door. They don't intend to put much signage there, but we'd like to review that anyway. We have restricted truck parking to the site only and not on the street. Fifth is fairly narrow and fairly congested at that location, so we've asked that they do not park on the street. We are asking, because they're using city streets, for proof of adequate insurance in case of any accidents or anything like that. And then, since the staff report was published, the city engineer in particular is requiring paving, and their blue paper has proposed new condition number 1 for the truck driving school, which is prior to the occupancy permit, applicants shall pave all areas used for training or parking to the satisfaction of the city engineer. And there's been quite a bit of discussion about that. One of the options that the truck school has, because it doesn't have the $40,000 that it would take to repave this entire site, they have come up with an option to use asphalt grindings, which are surplus from the Skyway redevelopment going on up in Chico. And the second piece of blue paper you have there is a proposal that we received today to, or more of information as well. But you can see the solid lines there marked on the image in front of you on the screen. as far as I understand, and the applicant will need to confirm this, they are proposing to pave that area, which is an area of roughly 140 by 70 feet square, 140 feet long by 70 feet wide, and not pave the whole site. They would not then use the whole site for this. So that is their proposal. They've worked very hard on maximizing paving while minimizing cost. So that's a staff report. Applicant is here to discuss their project. We have Sandy Hufford, who is the realtor, and Nav representing the applicant.
Thank you. Would anybody like to speak, or would you like to wait for questions?
We're happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Okay, we will open up public comment if there's anybody here from the public who'd like to comment on this item.
Mr. Chairperson, I do not have any public speakers on this item.
Close public comment. Limit discussion between commissioners and staff. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, my only concern is the route where the training will be happening. And the residential city neighborhoods that'll be used, because I think the DMV uses the neighborhood also, so it's kind of getting to be an issue.
Okay. Just been handed 3 routes, and one of the conditions is that they would provide us the routes they would use in advance of their approval. So I'm going to pass this down.
These are all different.
Yeah, there's 3 separate routes that they would use. So commissioners can take whatever time they need to review these.
Specific. Yeah, these won't affect any residential stuff. Yeah.
We did discuss that they would avoid residential streets and
Great.
and
So the I wonder if we could ask the DMV to do that for their big truck
DMV,
training.
Basically, we're not allowed to use their route, so we have to make a separate route.
So their route is residential, though. I mean, I know it's.
Yeah, we're not legal on their route.
She's talking about something separate from.
Yeah.
It is completely separate from.
Yep.
They didn't go through downtown. I didn't get 100% because of that.
So what's going to be in the area where the trees are? Where you said? What's going to be in the area where you said people were camping? Did I
down
miss
in
that?
here,
Yeah, nothing.
nothing.
Is it just empty? Okay, I was just curious.
So this is a truck driving school to get a Class A license?
Correct.
Okay, so are you so once they take your school, will they have all the qualifications to go to, do they have to still go to DMV and test, or is the test conducted at your school and then they can just go to DMV, say, I've passed, give me my license?
No, well, basically, we will give them.
Come on up to the microphone.
Red's
Yeah, you
off,
gotta
sorry.
push it again.
It was, sorry.
There you go.
It's on. All right, go. We will give them a certification once they complete the training. Then they will set up the DMV's appointment. Then DMV instructor is going to go with them to give them actual CDL.
To give them their actual test?
Correct. So basically, final testing is with the DMV.
So what is it, and the reason why I ask is my son just did the Lyman College, and then he, some of the people there said it's kind of hard. DMV is it was just kind of difficult. So we actually went to Idaho and paid the guy $400. He drove around Idaho for 20 minutes, backed the truck up in the cones, and he qualified. We just went to the DMV from the airplane, gave him the papers, He gave him his Class A license.
Where was that?
Here.
Yeah, actually, CDL requirement is according to FMCA is 15 hours on the road.
Okay, so that's new.
That
New requirement?
is start from this year.
Okay.
Yeah. If someone is just driving around like 4 hours or so, that's not legal. Public needs to be safe.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to find out if your school qualifies for someone to go there and get the qualification to then go to DMV and get their license issued, their Class A license issued, or they have to, besides taking the written test,
They still have to go through the DMV process, testing.
the
They can
actual
go-
driving test.
Correct.
Okay. All right. No, I think it's needed here. I do. Yeah.
Because we have a majority of people there coming from Butte County. So we are in the business in Yuba City from since 2011. So that's going to be basically cutting more time, and it's also alignment college as well. That's the reason.
Yeah. All right. No, I have no other questions.
So staff notes that the condition to specify the routes that would be followed is not yet in the staff report, in the list of conditions, so we will add that.
I wondered, yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
see it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions or comments, or would somebody like to make a motion?
The condition for the paving would be to the satisfaction of the city engineer, so there would have to be discussions with him to confirm that this would be adequate.
So on the motion, somebody would motion to approve as staff presented?
It would be a conditional approval with approval of the city engineer then, or?
Well, the condition
How would it
as
work?
drafted says to the satisfaction of the city engineer, so that would cover that. So an approval would have the two new conditions. One is the route being specified, and the other, the one on blue paper.
So is the asphalt grindings the one that's going to be chosen?
That is much less expensive than the other options. The other paving materials are concrete, chip seal, asphalt, and pavers. And this is tantamount to chip seal. It's dried asphalt.
Is it compacted or is it
grindings.
oil or how does it stick to the ground?
They will be compacting it and making sure that it holds together as if it were asphalt. It would become an asphalt. And that's part of the discussion that we have to have with the city engineer.
Is this acceptable to the city engineer, this method?
Yes, it is. He specified 4 conditions or 5 conditions. One is that the depth would be adequate to support the truck traffic. An applicant has provided the material here that says that a 3-inch depth would be adequate to support the truck, 3-inch thick, adequate to support the truck traffic. Because it's over 3,000 square feet, the drainage needs to be engineered adequately to provide some on-site retention. And that appears to be adequately addressed at this point. That drainage does not impact any neighboring parcels, and that the installation is rolled with a heavy rolling equipment, and the engineer has said sealed, but there will be some discussion about that as to how adequate the rolling out and laying of it would be with or without sealing, additional oil. So that's a discussion that the engineer will have with the applicant, assuming that this is approved with that condition.
I'll move to approve use permit 22-10 with the recommended new condition for approval for the paving and with the submission of the training routes.
I second.
Does that cover everything, Jackie?
Yes, I'm assuming also with the adoption of the exemption as appropriate level of environmental review, everything basically on the agenda, just with the added 2 conditions.
Adopt the notice of exemption.
And the resolution
included.
Assumed.
Sorry.
Motion carries with 5 yeses and 1 absent.
So we'll have that.
Right.
Great, yeah.
Good luck.
Wonderful.
We'll have that discussion next week, next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay, we will go back to item number 1, Nori Asian Kitchen and Grill use permit.
Okay. This item is for on-site alcohol sales at the new proposed location of Nori Asian Kitchen and Grill. The alcohol license is type 47 and would include all types of alcohol. The new location is 1445 Myers Street, the old Copa de Oro building. Applicant plans to operate primarily downstairs with the upstairs bar area reserved for occasional special events. Signage and facade improvements are not included with this application. A training and security plan has been submitted since the Development Review Committee meeting and is attached in blue.
Seeing as no applicants are here, we'll open for public comment.
Mr. Chairperson, there's no speakers on this item.
We'll close public comment and discuss between commissioners and staff.
Proper procedure.
So, question is this relocating their current alcohol permit from their current facility to the new one, or?
No.
It didn't, okay.
This is the
This is a new-
purchase from the previous owners of,
They're purchasing, they're
Copa de Oro's.
taking over Copa de Oro's
Yes.
permit, I see,
Correct.
okay.
Right.
What are they doing with the one? They just have a beer and wine right now?
Because Copa has full.
yes.
Right.
I
The
guess
beer,
so.
the beer and
They're
wine's
only-
tied to their previous location,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So are they two separate licenses or are they combined?
They're not planning on operating the existing restaurant. They're planning on moving their entire operation to the new one.
Okay.
So there's no net new licenses or anything with this? This is just procedural, something that needs to happen?
The license from the Copa de Oro building wasn't being used prior
Wow.
to this, but
But it still existed?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're just buying it. It's been there for, yeah, okay.
correct.
What was the reason for this having to come to the planning commission? Is it any transfer of a liquor license, or?
Any alcohol use.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
The building has not been used for over 2 years, which is another trigger for the use permit.
I see. Okay.
Open for a motion.
Well, I'll move to adopt use permit 2207 and resolution P 2022-14 for conditionally improving the minor use permit.
What does it say?
Second.
Please open voting.
Motion carries with
That
5
quick?
yeses and 1 absent.
Thank you. Item number 5, amendment of section 17.48.100. Staff report, please.
Yes, at the last planning commission meeting, this commission approved narrower setbacks in substandard parcels, particularly in South Oroville. And one of the also items in the ordinance was a requirement that if the same owner had 2 adjacent substandard lots, before they could develop them, they would have to merge them to make a lot that was substandard size or larger. Our city attorney, our consultant, Mark Wolf, caught this, read it. Our city attorney agrees that it is not something that we can constitutionally require. So we are proposing to delete this. And this would then go to the city council with the other that you've already recommended for approval as one motion to council for substandard lots.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll open public comment.
Mr. Chairperson, there are no public speakers on this item.
We'll close public comment on this item. Limit discussion between Planning Commission and staff. Any questions?
So this, Wes, so if you have, so you have two substandard lots next to each other. So you have the 5-foot setback, say on the left side, and 3 on the right. The next lot next to it, the side next to the 3-foot setback has to have a 5-foot setback, correct?
That's
so you're staggering the setbacks.
Yes.
And the front
So
and
there's
back
8 feet between structures.
Okay, and the front and back are both shrunk to 15 feet, correct? Front and back? 15 feet in the front, 15 feet in the back?
I don't recall shrinking the rear to, it's 20 in the.
20 in the rear,
Yeah, it's
but
20 in the
15
rear
in
and
the
15
front?
in the front.
Okay.
Most of the lots in South Oroville are 4,700 square feet, which is just 300 feet shy of the 5,000 square foot minimum for an R1 lot. So we didn't feel that we needed to provide too much relief. For this item, if there's a substandard lot next to a substandard lot with a separate owner, then we still would allow the substandard lot to get developed and they wouldn't be merged. So that's why we're eliminating this requirement.
Okay, and will you still be able to do, on these substandard lots, are they still available to put like an ADU on there?
Yes, if it can fit, yes.
So are the requirements, will the requirements change for an ADU on the substandard lot as opposed to the requirement on a regular 5,000 or 6,000 square foot lot? Are you gonna, because you'll have to adjust the setbacks as well for the ADU?
We had not contemplated doing that, partly because an ADU can also include what's called a junior ADU of 450 square feet attached to the main house, and you can still get 2 living structures in there without too much strain. The new ordinance allows 2,000 square feet coverage instead of, which is a larger building footprint than would have previously been allowed as well. So one could put in an 800 square foot house and another 800 square foot ADU, separate structures, and that would still meet our requirements.
So it wouldn't require a conditional use permit or anything to get that ADU?
An ADU is an administrative permit under our second dwelling ordinance that we already have.
Okay. Okay.
Do we have any other questions or open to a motion?
Yep. I'll make a motion. We adopt resolution P202217.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Please all voting.
That's- Motion carries with 5 absent, or 5 yeses and 1 absent. Wow, sorry. I was confused because it
Get
didn't
late
show
enough at night
on
and
there.
we'll be absent, yes.
All right, we'll move on to commissioner reports. Does anybody have anything they'd like to report?
I had Bank of Italy, but I was thinking let's wait till Carl is here, if that's okay.
Okay.
But I did want to share, if you have it up on the screen, what they're doing at the Olive Ranch Apartments. Did you have that one?
We had hard copies of that that have been distributed in your packets.
Oh,
Really?
we
Copies
didn't
of what?
see it.
We did? Don't see anything like that.
Well, I could share that next week too, next
Bring it
month.
up in my email.
Wait, there's not one next week, is there?
I mean, sorry.
Wow. Getting kind of crazy with
It's been a
it.
long
It's
week,
getting
what
way
can we
crazy.
say?
I can pull it up on email.
Okay,
Yeah.
just
I
to
don't
pull
think
it
we
up,
have anything.
because, is it Modern Builders, I think, you know, doing those Olive Ranch Apartments? And we originally talked about them doing some kind of a monument, to kind of remember the olive grove that was there and those original stanchions, which I think she'll get a picture of it. But they ended up doing something similar to what we have along the Feather River, like a marker that will be right out in front of their community center, and you'll see what they have on it when she gets it up. It's wonderful.
What is the location of this?
This is Grand and Table
Corner
Mountain.
of Grand and Table Mountain
Yeah.
Boulevard.
And they've worked with Butte County Historical Society, with Nancy over there to do this. Yeah. Yes, the big one. That will have a clubhouse and everything.
Is there anything to discourage graffiti?
Well, is that gate guarded? Is that behind a gate, that whole development? I noticed some of the new ones are, but I don't know.
I don't remember if it's gated.
Well, we don't have graffiti on the ones by the river. Or maybe those things are so solid you could wash it off?
Yeah, I don't know. I know people like to write on that type of
Yes,
thing.
they do.
That split-face concrete block wall along,
That's what I'm thinking.
Table
I'm
Mountain.
thinking it's going to get painted here pretty soon, graffitied. Because it's a very big open canvas. It's a
Yeah.
nice wall. I hate
Yeah.
to see it get
And
graffitied.
they've got beautiful plans.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It has the potential of being graffitied.
It does.
Those insets in that wall will be filled with mosaics that will be put together by our local students in all the schools in Oroville, and that's a 3-year project that's being worked on.
Yeah, they're beautiful. That looks, and they're supposedly graffiti proof also. He said they could be wiped off, or it was,
Yes.
yeah, they cannot be damaged. But that's, so this is it, and I don't know exactly the dimensions of it, but it's pretty large. But it's got the great picture of Edmund Fogg, who's the one who started so much of the orange and olive industries in this area after they couldn't dig the river up anymore for gold, and they had to adjust. And he's got the original plant in there, and then you can see the monuments at the bottom that are now at the Eamon home. Hopefully they will be able to, they have both of them, and they do have graffiti on them, which almost seems like a part of the history of it now. But they're at the Eamon home, and hopefully they will be able to be erected properly. Yeah, but they just listed when this was purchased, the finest olive grove in California. It's just wonderful. And then what happened with the botulism is mentioned there on the bottom in 1925, and an example of the cans. And when this grove sold, that it was the highest record price for any olive property in the history of the olive business. So I think they did a good job. Just going to see if you all agreed.
So that's the whole,
That's the whole
actually
thing.
what they're going to do?
That's actually it. Yes,
Oh,
that's it. And it'll be, like a nice size, and it'll be right in front of the community center for people to read. And I think he said something too, now that I'm remembering about it, there being a protective glass or plastic on top of it too. So it will be protected.
Very good.
But I just feel like they went above and beyond. They really did a wonderful job doing this.
It looks great. And as far as graffiti goes, our code enforcement department has been successful with a few different products for removing graffiti on various surfaces. There is a product that they use, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. I think they call it elephant snot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that removes graffiti. There's also, instead of sandblasting, using walnut holes to blast concrete or porous surfaces. So it not completely preventable, but there's methods to remove it.
Also, Home Depot has it locked up now. All their spray paint's locked up.
They
so-
do?
Yeah, I don't know if that'll help. I don't know about Walmart, but I know. that
Wow,
Home
that's
Depot-
really new.
I think you got to show an ID to buy that stuff now.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, you have to
To buy spray paint.
Yep.
I mean, you have to be over the age of. You can't buy it if you're
You
a
have to
kid.
be over 18.
Yeah. When I was a kid, you could buy it, but yeah, you have to be over 18, I think, to buy it.
On a lot of these plaques, I've seen just a thick Sharpie. They take it and they.
Yeah, these, yeah. Or
We still have to keep trying, though. I don't think we can, yeah. We can't let them win.
There you go.
Okay, so was that the Historical Advisory Commission report, or is that the?
That's historical advisory.
Okay, okay. So on to the staff report.
Yes, we have several items to mention this evening. First of all, the Development Review Committee meeting was set for October 13th, second Thursday, at 3 o'clock. And there are two projects so far. One is Comp Pros, which is a multi-tenant building. They're going to be taking over the AAA office. Is that the one, or is it another one?
Is this the workers' comp?
Yeah, they have.
The owner of that business has a new project which is unrelated. It's a multi-tenant commercial development.
And where did you say again?
I do
Or
not
we don't
have
know.
the address.
Okay.
in
that's
front
the
of me.
old AAA on Feather River?
No, this one will be between the trailer on Feather River,
Modular home sales.
the modular home sales, and Bulldog Express. It'll be down in there in a small vacant parcel that's between those two facilities on Feather River.
And what's going to be there?
I'm not sure. I think it's outpatient medical
A
services.
small multi-tenant office, maybe 4 different spaces in there for workers' comp or medical examinations. Also, there is a 4-unit apartment building at the corner of Myers and High Street, which is in our downtown historic overlay. That has been vacant. The owner is renovating that. They've put new windows in, which we have approved because they are very similar to the existing windows, but they are also proposing paint and other items. So we're requiring a development review of this in the downtown historic district for paint color and other items. It would not need to be elevated to the Historic Advisory Commission. Also, the Planning Commission on October 28th. We don't have any items for that at this time, but we certainly will, I'm sure.
Or is it the 27th?
27th?
Yeah, I'll get messed up.
Thursday, the 27th.
Okay. But no items.
That's correct.
So we'll just know if we get something from Jackie.
Yes. The next Planning Commission meeting would be November 17th, which is a week earlier than normal because of Thanksgiving. And the December Planning Commission meeting would be December 15th, which is a week early because of the Christmas season. We are working on a couple of pretty big projects. One is the Gold Creek Commons, which has gone to development review once, but now we have full applications in. We are waiting for a traffic analysis, and that's the 100,000 square foot retail and mixed use development there, right behind Popeyes there on Lincoln, taking all that vacant land behind that existing building. So that's a very large project, a subdivision, new subdivision. It has been declared exempt from CEQA by virtue of AB 430, which has been enacted to authorize CEQA exemptions for infill projects like this one.
Was that the underground parking?
Yes.
Wow.
The second project is one called Feather Ranch, which is 45 acres north of the airport, right adjacent to Kaya Vista subdivision. Immediately to its west, the owner is proposing 172 lots. That went to the Airport Land Use Commission for review for an inconsistency determination because it is more dense than would be allowed under that overflight zone off the airport. And so they have determined that it is inconsistent. So as part of the subdivision map and a couple of other permits, we would be moving forward with a proposed override of that inconsistency determination as part of the set of approvals that would be required. And as a subdivision, also rezoning and general plan amendment is part of that. So that all would have to go to the city council after the planning commission looks at it. Lastly, the branding project. The survey is now out. It's on the branding website, brandingoroville.com. And they are collecting lots and lots of data. And I think it's November 6th is the date that we'll get a download of the, quote, DNA of Oroville, what they think Oroville's strengths and weaknesses
Who we are.
who we are. And then after that, they'll work on a new brand. Did they? Oh, really? Did you take an earlier version or one that's just recently uploaded?
We'll look at that.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh.
You can get into my responses.
No, we won't. It's all confidential. We'll never see anybody's. Yeah. But if somebody says, well, one of these respondents really gave us what for, so we'll know who it is. That's the staff report, unless.
Nope. I have no additions.
Well, thank you. I caught something really quickly on a radio today. I might be wrong, but I thought I heard that the governor signed a bill that residential is going to be allowed in some commercial areas. Mm-hmm. Is that going to be a big change for us? We're going to have
Potentially. It has the ability to be a big change. We haven't had a chance to discuss it yet, so we're still digesting that bill ourselves. Mm-hmm.
This is the state doing this, you said?
Yes.
Just have mixed use in a residential neighborhood?
No, in a commercial.
Residential will be allowed in commercial zones.
It's the state's
Residential allowed in commercial zone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
It's the state's attempt to fight back against cities who rezone all of their vacant land as commercial just to prevent additional residential development.
Yeah. So old box warehouses that are no longer used in
In a
urban
commercial
areas
zone.
can be used
Converted
for
to residential.
Residential.
Won't it hamper other commercial businesses near it? I don't know. It just seems to me like it's much stricter, everything that you do in a residential neighborhood than a commercial neighborhood.
No, they need to, in big urban cities, they need to have, you have a lot of older buildings.
That are
like
empty.
in Oakland and those areas.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to convert them to condos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of cities have large swaths of commercial land that will, frankly,
As commercial,
years.
yeah.
as commercial,
Yeah.
that could be developed as
Yeah.
residential because that's in demand. We just don't.
Especially stuff that's by, like public transportation, BART and those areas like that.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to have
Yeah.
that higher density residential there. Better use of the land. Yeah.
I have a question. We haven't approved minutes in a while. Is that something that we still have to do, right?
Yes, and I will have them at the next meeting. I was out a number of times over the last bit, and so I've been working on them and catching up on all that.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions or comments, we will adjourn the meeting until October 27th, 2022 at 6 p.m.
So do you guys want to put this up in the, do you have one of these? For the Oroville Vision? You guys can put it in the office. Or not in the, even up front.
You save all your paper?
No. Some
Give it
of
back to us.
them that I tried to go over again.